Last year, we brought you a full-frame close-up on Humans of New York. It's a wildly popular photography blog. It's taken social media by storm and has made the site and its creator, Brandon Stanton, a household name. What we didn't tell you in that video essay is the real-life fairy tale that unfolded behind the scenes when our producer and cameraman traveled to New York to interview Brandon. At the time, our cameraman, Duane Watkins, and his wife, Kristen, were in the process of adopting their second child from Ethiopia. But with the astronomical cost of an international adoption, the couple had no idea when they'd be able to bring their son home. So what happened that fateful day on the streets of New York? After Brandon heard Duane's story, we witnessed a true testament to the generosity of the human spirit and to Brandon Stanton's commitment to using the devotion of the Honey community to do good for the world. The adopted child, Rabuma, later told us that as he waited to join his new family, his main hope was to once again have a father figure in his life. This is the story of how thousands and thousands of strangers helped make that dream a reality.
Where was this?
Chimney Rock.
Chimney Rock in outside of Asheville, right? Mm-hmm. We had tried to have biological children, but were unable to do it. And I had reservations that, well, am I going to make that connection with a child that's adopted? Are they going to love me like profoundly, like a child would, you know, from birth, your own flesh and blood? Am I going to love them that profoundly? And then you realize that, well, I wasn't with my wife since since birth, and I love her profoundly. And now that I've evolved in my thinking and had that epiphany that, okay, it's not about me. You know, it's not about me and always what I want. It's about the child. It's about the needs of the child. And that's what a good parent is. So that's the kind of parent I want to be.
Most people adopt a younger child, and we were talking with our social worker, and the wait had actually extended for us another year, is what they were anticipating for us to bring a child home.
Do you have anything to say?
Just glad to be here. Anxious.
We were ready. We were ready to become parents, and they have what is called waiting children, and these are children who are ready to be adopted, who need a family immediately. And most of them are older children, or they might possibly have special needs. And we saw a picture of child 2, and we just knew, just immediately, we knew this was going to be our daughter. After we had brought child 2 home, and I almost knew immediately that we would adopt again. He has such a beautiful smile, and his story was he wanted a father. And I just started crying. I mean, tears just flowed, and I was thinking to myself, well, then it has to be Duane. I mean, Duane is such an amazing father, and if that's what this boy wants and needs, well, it needs to be Duane. I mean, that just makes sense.
Love you, Chaltu. I love you, Chaltu.
I was scheduled to go on assignment in New York to meet Brandon. He was the founder and purveyor, I guess, of HONY, Humans of New York. We need to get video of him on location doing what he does.
I was wondering if there's any way I could take your photograph or run a popular photo blog.
Which is photographing people and getting their story, interviewing them.
What is your greatest struggle right now?
My greatest struggle is not to feel empty inside.
And we were in traffic, and people were driving kind of crazy. And I said, this is bad traffic, but it's nothing like the traffic in Addis Ababa, in Ethiopia. And Brandon was like, what'd you go to Ethiopia for? A story or something? And I said, no, to pick up my daughter.
And he tells me about a young girl that he had adopted from Ethiopia and how wonderful that had been and how much it had changed his life. And I was just kind of fascinated naturally about the kind of details in the story. And he happened to mention that there was another boy that he was trying to adopt from Ethiopia, but there were some difficulties and that he didn't have the money to quite do it yet. And I kind of pulled him aside and I said, what if we were to raise the money to help you adopt your son? And he said, wow, that would be amazing.
And he was like, I'll have that money for you in less than an hour.
So I was driving home from work and Duane calls me, and he had been in New York doing this story on Brandon, and he was telling me about it. And then Duane tells me, well, he wants to help us do fundraising. I was so touched that he wanted to help us out, and I was driving and crying and just listening to Duane talk about it. But you also, in the adoption process, you learn to guard your heart, because there can be so many things that can delay it, whether it's you need to re-sign this paper, or you need to get this done again, or now this has expired. So there was a part of me also that I didn't want to get too excited about it, because if it didn't happen, I didn't want that big disappointment.
And so he wrote up something for the fundraiser, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna pull the trigger on this, Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Then Tuesday rolls around, I start to get these alerts on my email from my PayPal account, and Brandon calls me, and I'm still at work. Brandon calls me, and he was like, are you watching this? And I'm like, no, I'm at work, I don't have any way of knowing, and neither does Kristen. She was like, okay, you've almost made your goal already at 6:45. Not even 7 o'clock, it's not even an hour, and we've almost made the goal. I was stunned. I was just like, I didn't know what to say.
I remember just standing there thinking, wow, I can't believe so many people would be willing to donate to this. They don't know us. They don't know anything except for what's in this article. I almost started shaking. I was so overwhelmed by it, and just thinking, wow, we're gonna be able to bring our son home so much quicker than we could even imagine, because of all these people willing to help us. And it hit me, it truly hit me what all these people did, that thousands of people in over 41 countries gave. Some people, they said, all I can give is $1. I don't have much, but I want to give you my dollar, which was just as amazing as we had somebody who gave us $1,000. A lot of people say that humanity is not near what it used to be. That's not true. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get emotional about it, but it really hit me. Wow, all of these people care enough about our son to help him come home. I mean, it wasn't about Duane and I. It was about they want this boy to be with his family, and now he can.
So this is pretty big, right?
Cute. I mean, just So once we were able to secure the adoption fee, we received notice that we were able to go to our first trip and meet our son. And I just remember walking through this gate and seeing Rabuma and him coming up and just clinging to me and calling me mom for the first time. And it's just, you can't even imagine how amazing that feels, and just being able to hug him and knowing, that he is now my son, and he now has a mom and dad and he's been waiting for so long.
This one, yes. Okay. This is 1 grade.
1 grade?
Yeah, 1. And that one.
But it's very difficult after the first trip. You're not completely convinced that they understand that we're coming back. And so that goodbye is really difficult, because here they are, we're thrust into their lives and then yanked right back out. We flew back, and I think it was about 2 months. It's about 2 months, and we got word that we had an embassy date because all the paperwork was complete. So we were about ready to fly out.
Duane was sending me kind of periodic emails saying, things are moving forward, things are going well. And, it just so happened, in the most beautiful coincidence in the world, that I happened to be in the middle of a world tour, and I happened to be in Africa the very same week that Duane and Kristen were going to pick up Rabuma. And I kind of looked at my schedule and I said, you know what, I can actually come to Ethiopia, on that day and photograph you guys, if that's okay.
He really made the effort to really see this thing through, beginning to end. And I'm so glad that he was part of it. I told him that we would always be in debt to him, because Rabuma would not be here today, probably, if we hadn't raised that money.
I've kept up with everything. I thought it was just going to be exhausting.
When I met Rabuma and Duane and Kristen in Ethiopia, and I kind of sat there with them in that room, and I just could feel the emotion and the happiness and the love, and see it and kind of be a part of it.
So, it's really special for me to be able to be here at this time.
For me, that was the most real validation that I've gotten out of anything that I've done in the years of Humans of New York. The most tangible validation that it has made a difference.
Joe.
Hey, look, here they are. Here they come.
just being able to watch the two of them play together, I think is just really exciting.
I'm happy. Happy.
We're excited.
Are you happy?
Yes.
Yes, very happy.
It's just amazing, you know, when you look at all the time that you have to wait and all the processes that you go through. It's almost like it's just all wiped away.
Oh snap! No, he can.
Because now it's real. Now, you know, I have my children.
Yes.
It feels like we've been together forever. I mean, it feels like we've been together since their birth.
Look at all of them over there.
You know, it just a short amount of time, and you just feel like it's right. And that this is the way it was always supposed to be. They were always meant to be with us. That's the way it feels.